familia? Muy buenas noches. Welcome to La Hora del Mitote. Remember, we are here on La Hora del Mitote every Friday, not every Friday, but twice a month on Friday at 7 p.m. on our Facebook page. And you can also see us at our YouTube page and on channel 30th of Create TV. Bienvenidos a La Hora del Mitote. Estamos aquí como cada viernes a las 7 en nuestra página de Facebook, nuestro canal de YouTube y en el canal 30 de Create TV. My name is Rodrigo Garcia. I am the Artistic Director of Teatro Visión. And with me...
My name is Lee Henderson. I'm the Managing Director of Teatro Visión.
And before we start, we want to acknowledge that we are all guests here in the ancestral homeland of the Muwekma Ohlone people that continue to thrive and live here in our community today. Y antes de que comencemos, queremos reconocer que somos huéspedes aquí en la tierra ancestral del pueblo Muwekma Ohlone que continúa floreciendo y triunfando aquí en nuestra comunidad. Muchísimas gracias por estar con nosotros. Y este programa vamos a tratar de hacer un resumen en español, así que por favor mándenos sus preguntas en español o en inglés y con gusto se las contestaremos. Please send us your questions, Spanish or English, and we will do our best to give you some answers. Lee?
Yeah, thank you. So as all of you out there watching may have seen on our social media and in the emails, we are just starting selling tickets for the first show we have in almost 2 years now for live performances. So we wanted to take this opportunity to tell all of you about our plans for that live performance, how we're going to make sure that it's safe for the artists, for all of you who may want to come and watch the show, and also, take this chance to answer any questions that you might have about purchasing tickets or getting to the theater or what you're going to find when you get there. So as Rodrigo was saying, please ask your questions at any point on the chat on Facebook or YouTube. Oh, you're muted, Rodrigo.
Esta noche estamos aquí para platicar con ustedes acerca de los planes que tenemos para regresar al teatro y las precauciones que estamos tomando para poder asegurarnos que todo el mundo esté protegido. Así que sus preguntas, sus comentarios y con gusto les contestaremos.
So when we got a few questions submitted in advance as well, so thank you to those of you out there who asked questions. I'll try to answer them kind of as we go through, but again, I'm happy to take additional questions as well. And I want to point out too that all of our COVID protocols are available on our website too. So if there's anything you want a reminder of, anything you want to look up again, you can always visit our website at teatrovision.org/COVID.
Pueden encontrar nuestros protocolos de protección contra el COVID en nuestra página de teatrovision.org/COVID. Y si tiene alguna pregunta, nos pueden mandar un correo electrónico y llamarnos.
I also want to acknowledge that in these protocols to bring people back into the theater safely, we're part of a whole coalition of theater companies all over the Bay Area who are all, sort of agreeing on principles that we feel are going to be safe. And so if you want to look up that and see us and the dozens and dozens of other theater companies that are also reopening safely, you can go to theaterbayarea.org/page/Bay Area Safe.
Sí, queremos recordarles que Teatro Visión somos parte de una coalición de muchas compañías aquí en el área de la Bahía. Estamos uniendo esfuerzos para poder regresar al teatro de manera segura. Y pueden ver más información acerca de esta coalición en theaterbayarea.org/page/Bay Area Safe.
Okay, so I am just going to start by walking through the process, you might see if you want to come through to the show, the process of buying a ticket, of getting to the theater, and then of sort of being in the theater. So to start with, if you're interested in coming to see the show, we would love to have you. We are limiting audiences to only people who are fully vaccinated, and that's for the safety of all of us, all of you. But if you are not able to be fully vaccinated, and this includes, we got a question in advance about the policy for kids under 12, which unfortunately is because kids under 12 are not able to be vaccinated, we're not able to have them at the live performances, but we are also, for that reason, offering pre-recorded performances, which you'll be able to see online on demand between October 29th and November 30th. And so I do hope that if you're either not comfortable coming to the theater or if you're not able to come to the theater, we would love for you to watch the show that way.
Sí, queremos recordarles que los protocolos que hemos establecido son para las personas que pueden asistir al teatro, son las personas que están completamente vacunadas, y esto quiere decir que ya recibieron sus dosis completas, ya sea una dosis de Johnson Johnson o las 2 dosis de Pfizer o Moderna, que ya hayan completado y que ya han pasado 2 semanas. Eso es lo que significa estar completamente vacunado. Y esto obviamente no incluye a los niños menores de 12 años, lo cual en esta ocasión los niños menores de 12 años no podrán asistir al teatro. Sin embargo, queremos que todos puedan disfrutar esta producción que estamos haciendo para ustedes, y la vamos a tener disponible online. When was the date again, Lee? When the online?
October 29th through November 30th.
Del 29 de octubre al 30 de noviembre podrán ver la producción desde la comodidad de su casa. Si es que usted no se puede vacunar o no puede venir al teatro por alguna razón, también puede ver la obra en línea de octubre 29 al 30 de noviembre.
Do you want to repeat? I think you explained fully vaccinated more clearly than I did. Do you want to restate that in English as well?
Yes, of course. So what we mean by fully vaccinated means that a person received the 1 dose of Johnson Johnson or the 2 doses that are required for Pfizer or Moderna. That 2 weeks have passed since the last time that you got the second shot, if it was the one that requires 2 shots. That's what we mean by fully vaccinated.
Thanks. We actually got a question in advance too, that somebody was asking if, since we're only allowing vaccinated people, why is it that we're also requiring people to wear masks the whole time that they're indoors? So I wanted to answer that quickly now, which is there's sort of a 2-part answer to that. The first is that it's still required by the county that indoor gatherings, people are required to be fully masked regardless of vaccination status. And the reason behind that is obviously that the vaccines aren't perfect. They're extremely good, but there are still cases of people who have been fully vaccinated who could be carrying the virus, who could pass it on to others. And so it's another layer of safety to make sure that we're making this as safe an experience as we can for all of us and for all of you.
I want to add to that, Lee, that when we are talking about protection, we need to look at, there is this nice analogy about slices of cheese, the ones that have holes, where if you have different layers, if the virus passes from one hole, it might stop in the second layer or the third layer. So we need various layers of protection. And vaccine is one and a very effective way, but it's not the only one, and we should not rely only on vaccination. That's why we add an extra layer of the mask that adds protection in addition to hand hygiene, in addition to cleaning surfaces, in addition to being socially distant. When we put all these layers together, we can guarantee a bigger protection. And so, quiero recordarle a las personas que recibimos una pregunta, decían, si ya estoy totalmente vacunado, ¿por qué tengo que usar cubrebocas dentro del teatro? Hay actualmente un mandato del condado de Santa Clara que ordena el uso de cubrebocas en cualquier lugar público en interiores. Y esto queremos recordarles que la vacuna es bastante efectiva, sin embargo no podemos nada más basarnos en un solo nivel de protección. Es importante considerar diferentes niveles. Uno de ellos es vacunación, el segundo es usar mascarillas, el tercero es asegurarnos que haya higiene de mano constante y también que se limpien las superficies y el distanciamiento social. Entonces, cuando tenemos todas estas medidas de protección en lugar, podemos garantizar una mayor protección para todos.
So tickets are on sale now. If you want to come to the show, you can find them at teatrovision.org/departera. And when I do want to point out that you do have to buy tickets in advance. I know that in the past, people were able to walk up and purchase tickets at the door. We're not offering that for this show because we do want to make sure that everybody knows the COVID policies in advance, that everybody is able and ready to comply with them. So we don't want to have somebody come out and then have to turn them away at the door because they weren't aware in advance of what we're requiring. So if you're interested in coming to the show, please do buy your tickets in advance and don't plan to come on the day of the show because we won't be selling tickets at the door.
Parte de nuestros protocolos de seguridad y para asegurarnos que hay el mínimo contacto y que podemos establecer los lugares por adelantado, vamos a estar vendiendo boletos solamente por adelantado, es decir, no habrá taquilla ese día. Si usted se presenta ese día a comprar su boleto, desafortunadamente no vamos a poder vendérselo, por lo cual les recomendamos que por favor compren sus boletos por adelantado y los pueden comprar en línea o también los pueden comprar por teléfono. Por favor, si quiere venir a ver la obra en persona, le pedimos que reserve sus boletos con anticipación porque además estamos vendiendo solamente un número limitado de boletos y esto es para asegurar que las personas en el teatro están distanciados socialmente.
And this is the phone number if you prefer to purchase tickets over the phone, or if you have any trouble purchasing them online, you can always call us and order over the phone at this number.
Ya pueden llamar al teléfono y la extensión es la extensión 0.
And as Rodrigo was saying, we also want to maintain social distance in the theater. And so for that reason, when you go to buy tickets, you'll see we're not doing general admission in the way that we have done in the past. You'll see a seating chart like this for the theater, where when you go to purchase tickets, you'll be able to select whichever seats you want. But all the seats you see here that are blacked out, that's because those are reserved for socially distancing. So we're blocking off the first 3 rows, so no member of the audience will be within 12 feet of the actors performing on stage. You can see we're blocking off every other row of the theater to keep space between patrons. And then as people purchase tickets, it's also blocking off 2 seats in between each group of people. So you can be sure that you're not going to be sitting right next to somebody who's not in the party that you're with.
Ya, cuando usted compra boletos, usted puede elegir su espacio y va a ver en el diagrama que puso Lee que solamente las líneas que están en gris son en azul son las que están disponibles. Las líneas que están en negro son espacios que nosotros hemos bloqueado para que haya una distancia. Como pueden ver, las tres primeras líneas que están cerca al escenario están bloqueadas. Eso es para poder garantizar que las personas puedan estar a más de 12 pies de distancia de los actores. Y cuando usted reserva su boleto, los dos asientos de cada lado de usted se van a bloquear automáticamente, y esto es nuevamente para poder asegurar que haya un distanciamiento social.
This also means there are not nearly as many tickets available for any of the performances as we usually have. So if you do want to come, that's another good reason to buy your tickets in advance.
Así que, por favor, compre sus boletos, porque esto quiere decir que no va a haber muchos boletos disponibles. Y la verdad es que no se quieren perder este show. You do not want to miss this de partera.
Yes, exactly. So you'll purchase your tickets that way, either online or over the phone. You'll have a ticket emailed to you that will say your seat number on it. So just bring that when you come to the theater. And then the other things you're going to need to bring when you come to the theater is proof of vaccination. And that means either you can physically bring your vaccination card, you could bring a photo of your vaccination card on your phone, or there's also, and I don't have the website set up here, unfortunately, or I'd put it on the screen. But you can also download proof of vaccination to your phone, and that's fine as well. But do make sure that you bring one of those ways to demonstrate your vaccination status, because we will be checking that before we can let you into the theater.
If you don't have your card with you, you can just Google replacement vaccination card California, and it's going to take you to a website that is very simple, where you can download a copy of your record and show that at the door. So, algo importante que tienen que recordar es de cuando vengan al teatro, tienen que traer obviamente el boleto que reservaron, saber dónde se van a sentar. No tienen que traer un boleto físico, simplemente saber dónde se van a sentar. Nosotros vamos a tener un récord de eso también, pero también tienen que traer su tarjeta de vacunación. Esto es, pueden traer la tarjeta física, pueden traer una fotografía de su tarjeta, o si es que no tienen ninguna de las dos, pueden ir a Google y buscar reemplazo de tarjeta de vacunación, y los van a llevar a un website donde pueden bajar la copia del comprobante de vacunación. Y eso es lo que tienen que mostrar a la entrada, y no va a haber excepciones, lo tienen que mostrar junto con una identificación con fotografía. Be no exceptions at the door, so everyone will have to show their proof of vaccination along with their photo ID.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we will have to turn you away if you're not able to show that proof at the door. But I do want to add, we would at that point offer you a full refund. We would also offer a full refund for any other reason. So if you buy tickets and then you decide that you're not comfortable going to the theater, if you buy tickets and then you're not feeling well that day, if you buy tickets and then you get to the theater and you don't feel comfortable, we're happy to give you a refund. No questions asked, because we do want everyone to be comfortable buying tickets and coming to the theater.
Sí, en caso de que usted llegue al teatro y no pueda entrar al teatro por cualquier razón, puede ser que no se siente a gusto estar en el teatro con mucha gente, puede ser que ese día no se siente bien, decide no ir al teatro, lo cual lo recomendamos. Si se siente mal, no venga al teatro, o no mostró su tarjeta de vacunación. Cualquiera que haya sido la razón, nosotros le vamos a reembolsar lo que pagó por el boleto sin preguntar, porque al final de cuentas queremos que las personas que están en el teatro se sientan a gusto y se sientan protegidas, y las personas que no pueden estar, que también tengan opciones para poder disfrutar de la producción desde la comodidad de su casa sin tener que sufrir el haber pagado y no poder estar en el teatro.
So when you get to the theater, someone will ask to see your proof of vaccination with your matching photo ID. We'll also be checking to make sure that you're wearing a mask, and we do require that it be a well-fitted mask with at least 2 layers of fabric. Please, none of the sort of neck gaiters or t-shirt masks. But we will also have extra masks if you forget your mask. If for some reason your mask doesn't pass the standards that we have, we will be able to supply you with one that you can wear as well.
Y a todas las personas, sin excepción, en el teatro, todo el público, es importante que usen mascarilla, y la mascarilla tiene que ser una mascarilla que sea recomendada para estos casos. Es una mascarilla que tenga por lo menos 2 capas de tela. No se pueden usar mascarillas que tienen válvulas para respirar, o los gasnetes que se ponen en el cuello y que son solamente de un layer, o jalarse la camiseta y ponérsela en la boca. Tiene que ser una mascarilla apropiada. Y si por alguna razón no la tiene o la que trae no es apropiada, nosotros le podemos dar una a la entrada con muchísimo gusto.
And I want to add, there will also be a trained COVID-19 compliance officer on site in the front of house, both to make sure that all of the audience members are keeping their masks off, following the protocols, and to make sure that we as the Teatro Visión staff are doing what we should be doing in terms of, we will be supplying hand sanitizer, we will be making sure that proper signage are posted. We'll be there to help you essentially in whatever way we can to make sure that it's safe for all of you.
Vamos a tener una persona entrenada que va a ser el oficial de COVID, que se va a encargar de que todas las personas sigan los protocolos que hemos establecido, también asegurarnos que las personas se sientan bien. Esto es, vamos a proveer mascarillas, vamos a proveer también el hand sanitizer, que no me acuerdo cómo se dice en español, el desinfectante de manos, y les vamos a poder indicar las entradas y salidas. En fin, vamos a tener una persona encargada para poder asegurarnos que la estancia en el teatro sea la más agradable y que sea segura.
This is a good time for me to add too, because we will be needing to do all these things to make sure that everybody is safe. We are looking to hire a few additional people to work as ushers and to help us in the front of the house on the days of the show. So if that is of interest to you, the information is all posted on our website at teatrovision.org/work. And so if you're interested, if you'd like to help out, we'd love to hear from you, and you can go there, and you can also email Juanita at teatrovision.org, and she can give you more information as well.
Y ya que estamos hablando de todo esto que estamos preparando, una de las cosas que vamos a hacer, vamos a contratar a unas personas adicionales como acomodadores para que puedan estar con nosotros. La información la pueden encontrar en teatrovision.org/work, y también pueden mandarle un correo electrónico a juanita@teatrovision.org si es que están interesados. Esto es un trabajito chiquito pero divertido, y además pueden ver la obra.
We're also actually looking for, if we have some high school students out there who wanted to get some community service hours by helping out with helping people find their seats in the theater and that sort of thing, that's available as well. And again, you can contact Juanita and she can help you with that.
Si hay algunos estudiantes de high school que quieran hacer horas de servicio comunitario, y que aparte es una cuestión divertida, todo lo que tienen que hacer es ayudarle a las personas a encontrar su lugar, pueden contactar a Juanita@teatrovision.org y decirle que están interesados en ser parte de este evento.
So another question that we got from somebody in advance is about the lobby. As any of you know who have been coming to our shows in the past, we love to have a very active, colorful lobby at past shows. We've been selling concessions and merchandise. We've also had some fantastic local artists and vendors. And unfortunately, we are not able to do any of that at this show because we do want to make sure that we're not gathering crowds in the lobby. So sadly, the lobby will not have the concessions, the merchandise, the vendors that we've been able to have in the past, at least for this show.
Una de las preguntas que recibimos es acerca de si va a haber algo en el lobby, y como ustedes saben, a nosotros nos gusta tener un lobby, un vestíbulo muy colorido cuando la gente, además también aprovechamos para tener pequeñas actividades interactivas con las personas, vender también en el vestíbulo. Por cuestiones de seguridad, este año no lo vamos a poder hacer y lamentamos mucho la inconveniencia, pero nuevamente lo que queremos es de que puedan disfrutar al máximo y reducir el riesgo también al máximo. Así que este año no habrá vestíbulo, la gente va a entrar, va a ver la obra y va a salir. Y pueden congregarse afuera del teatro en la parte abierta de la explanada.
The one thing we are doing actually in which will probably be outside of the lobby is that we do want to have a display honoring loved ones that our community has lost and that you're holding in your hearts on Dia de Muertos. Anyone who saw our production of La Muerte Baila this past year, we did a similar thing. So I do want to note that if you would like us to incorporate the names of any loved ones that you're remembering on this Dia de Muertos, we would love to include them as well. You can email us at teatro@teatrovision.org. You could put a comment or you can message us on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. You can also text us at 408-294-6621, and we would love to hear from any and all of you.
Algo que sí vamos a tener, vamos a hacer un desplegado de las personas que hemos perdido a causa de la pandemia, y esto es para su memoria. Algunas personas de ustedes que pudieron venir a ver la baila, donde teníamos también desplegados los nombres de las personas para poderlas recordar, tener la memoria. Eso va a estar disponible afuera del lobby, y a todas las personas que quieran que publiquemos el nombre de la persona a la que perdieron y que sea una manera de conmemorar y de recordarlos, por favor mándenos su nombre a teatro@teatrovision.org y con muchísimo gusto agregaremos el nombre a la lista para poder honrar su memoria.
I mean, I think that basically walks us through the experience you're going to have coming into the theater. I've got a couple more questions that people sent in advance that I can answer now, but I do want to remind you, people out there watching, if you have other questions, we would love to hear from you and answer those as well. Another question that we got is whether people will still be allowed to meet and talk with the actors after the show. And those of you who have been to our past productions will know we love to do that. Our actors love to come out and meet people, talk to you, celebrate with you after the show. But again, unfortunately, that's something that we're not going to be able to do for this production because we want to make sure that we are making things as safe as possible, both for the artists and for all of you, so that we want to not encourage gatherings of that kind. So unfortunately, the answer to that question as well is that no, you won't be able to do the meet and greet that we have typically done with the actors after the show. You're muted again, Rodrigo.
I keep forgetting. algo que es muy popular que en cada una de nuestras producciones es al final de la función el que los actores salgan para que las personas quieran, los puedan saludar, los puedan felicitar, los puedan conocer. Y eso es algo que nosotros apreciamos muchísimo y los actores también lo aprecian bastante. Por cuestiones de seguridad, nuevamente este año no va a ser posible. Si alguien de ustedes conoce a alguno de los actores, los van a poder ver una vez que salgan completamente de la plaza, pero no en el teatro, no en el lobby. No va a ser posible este año y esto está fuera de nuestras manos, es algo que no nos gusta hacer, pero sabemos que es muy importante para proteger la salud de todos nosotros, incluyendo los actores y el público. So this is not something that we are crazy about doing, but we know it is important to protect our artists as well as the audience. So we hope that in future years things will be different, but we're just happy and thankful that we can already talk about coming to the theater. Unlike last year when we were all sad because we couldn't be in the theater with other folks. So we do everything we can to make sure that the experience is full and safe.
Beautifully put. Another question we got was about cancellations, specifically if the in-person performances are canceled, if people are still going to be able to watch on demand. So I want to answer that and more broadly about the possibility of cancellation and what happens then. You'll see if you go on our website to look at our COVID protocols too, that these things continue to be subject to change based on developing conditions and developing should there be changes to county policy or city policy that we would need to follow. And so certainly there remains a possibility that we would have to cancel performances for those reasons, or, should one of our actors become sick, and we would have to do that for their safety and for the safety of the rest of the cast. So if that happens, we will let you know. If you've bought tickets, obviously, we will offer full refunds to anyone who bought tickets. And to specifically answer this question, yes, you would still be able to watch the performance on demand. So that is, we want to do everything we can to make this show as available to as many people as we can, in as many ways as we can, as safely as we can.
Sí, una de las preguntas que nos llegó también era qué iba a pasar si había una cancelación. Y hay varias razones por las que se puede cancelar un show. Una de ellas es de que la situación cambie de tal manera de que no podamos o no nos permitan abrir las puertas del teatro. Otra situación puede también ser de que alguno de los actores se enferma y tengamos que cancelar. En cualquier caso, si es que nos vemos obligados a cancelar las funciones, queremos asegurarles que ustedes podrán seguir o podrán ver la función en línea en otra fecha, pero podrán tener acceso. Y dos, que si ustedes compraron boletos y por alguna razón se canceló el show, ustedes van a poder recibir un reembolso por el costo total de lo que pagaron.
Well, I think the only other question that we got in advance was how long is the play? And you've been in rehearsals and I have not, so I'm going to let you answer that question.
Yeah, the play is a 2-act play, and each act it's about 45 to 50 minutes. The first act is a little bit longer than the second one, but I would say that it's about 45 to 50 minutes. Each act, and there is an intermission of about 15 to 20 minutes, so people can go out, can go to the bathroom, can go just get some fresh air, and then come back to the theater. So let's say it's about an hour and a half. Oh, algunas personas preguntaban de cuánto duraba la obra. La obra se presenta en dos actos con un intermedio y cada acto es aproximadamente 45 a 50 minutos y el intermedio es de 15 a 20 minutos para que las personas puedan ir al baño, puedan salir a refrescarse, puedan simplemente estirarse, regresar a ver el segundo acto.
Well, that is all the questions we got in advance. I do want to remind you, if you're out there watching, we'd love to answer any other questions that you still have. So please do put those in the comments, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. We'd love to take this opportunity to answer your questions. In the meantime, Rodrigo, do you want to talk a little bit about the show itself and about what people would see when they come to the theater?
Of course. So, for those of you who have never seen the show, the partera is it's a new work that was developed a few years ago. The development process was led by Elisa Marina Alvarado, our founding artistic director, and the play was written by Evelina Fernandez and the music composed by Russell Rodriguez. So a team of us got together and we conducted what we called community sharing circles. And we invited people to come in and share their experiences. And these experiences were prompted by questions. Well, when they were sharing, there were some questions that we posed, and the main theme was to talk about death. And one of the things that we got out of these community sharing circles was that people were not, have never had the opportunity to talk about death. And the community circles serve as a way for people to just express their feelings and a lot of things that came with it, about forgiveness, about love, about relationship, about letting go, and and also coming to the conclusion that the way we live is influences the way we die in a way that the relationships that we create while we are alive carries through, and that's our belief. That's a you know that's an individual belief, and as a culture, as a comunidad, it's also a shared belief that there is an afterlife. And so the idea, the conversation started with that, and then we gathered some of the stories that served as an inspiration for Evelina to write this beautiful story that it's about an older woman who has this gift of helping people to die. Just like a midwife helps women to give birth, the partera, her name is Juana, she helps people to go to the other life, to move to the greater beyond. And also, so Juana is the main character, but there's also a mentee, an apprentice, a young woman, and this is part of our cultural knowledge and how we pass it through generations. So anyway, there is this collection of stories that are told in a very beautiful way. There's a lot of witty and in the stories and fun. They're touching, and the first time that we produced it, people were very moved by the message, and we believe that given the current circumstances, this day couldn't come at a better time because there is so much that we need to heal from, where we have lived with death every single day. We have breathed uh, death every single day during this pandemic. And I think it has taken a toll in our spirits, And I believe that the partera would help us, you know, heal in many ways when we, when we hear these stories that could be some of our own stories. So it's going to be reimagined from the first production that was wonderfully staged by Elisa Marina Alvarado. And this is something that we do with the show that we do for Dia de los Muertos. We try to reimagine and see how it can be told in different ways. So some of the things that you will see new for those of you who have seen the show, we have added music and we have added other fun elements that we are completely sure you are going to love. So I don't want to say anything else because we're working with a lot of love to make sure that you have your first experience back in the theater with the partera way you will never forget.
Do you want to say all that in Spanish again?
Oh my God, it's going to be hard, pero lo que les puedo decir es que este año la producción de Partera viene muy fresca, viene reimaginada de la primera vez que la hicimos hace 3 años. Y esta obra es un nuevo trabajo que empezamos hace unos años, que empezó con una serie de círculos donde compartía la gente experiencias y donde el tema principal era acerca del arte. Y una de las cosas que recabamos de estos círculos es de que la gente expresaba que no habían tenido oportunidad para hablar de la muerte de una manera tan abierta. Entonces, estas historias que la gente compartió sirvieron de inspiración para la escritora Evelina Fernández, para el músico compositor Russell Rodríguez, para poder crear esta obra tan bella. El proceso lo llevó Elisa Marina Alvarado, que es nuestra directora artística fundadora. Y bueno, esta obra salió como una recolección de estas pequeñas historias que se presentan a través del personaje de Juana, que es una mujer que ayuda a las personas a morir. Así como las parteras ayudan a las mujeres a dar luz, Juana ayuda a las personas a pasar al más allá. De ahí el nombre de partera, que es una combinación entre departure y partera. Es un término que nosotros creamos. Pero la obra es muy divertida, muy entretenida, pero también tiene un aspecto muy conmovedor y que nos llega al corazón. Y pensamos que de partera no pudo haber llegado en mejor momento que este, en el que hemos estado viviendo con la muerte, respirado la muerte durante toda esta pandemia, y esta obra creemos que es una oportunidad para empezar a sanar o para continuar sanando de todos estos eventos que hemos pasado últimamente. Así que los esperamos, va a estar muy bien. And Lee is the set designer and the projection designer, and you can expect a beautiful set because Lee designed it.
Well, thank you. It feels like a really beautiful show to be coming back on. I feel like just because so much of it is about community supporting each other through difficult times, and yeah, it just feels really apt for that to be the first time that we're able to come back together, in person again. And I know we've spent this whole time talking about all the rules that we have to put in place and all the things that we can't do and all the things that we have to require of you. But the flip side of that, is that we're just so excited to be able to do this again, to be able to bring people together again, even if it's a little bit different, even if, we have to ask you to wear masks and we have to put some seats in between you. Just the energy of having people back in the theater again is so beautiful and so exciting. And, we're just thrilled to be able to do that again.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to add, Lee, that, well, and I want to remind people that what we are doing in terms of our protocols is not something based on any particular belief or individual beliefs. We are really following what the county public health department, the state has issued in terms of recommendations. We we believe that is our responsibility to take care of our community and to take care of each other. And we respect that there is a diversity of beliefs that we are not trying to change. We are just following the recommendations that are put in place because we want to be responsible in that sense. So again, we respect if people have different beliefs. We do, but in this situation, we are following what is, you know, recommended by the public health department and by the state as well, because that's the best reference that we have right now. And like Lee mentioned before, we are not alone in this. We are part of a larger coalition of theater companies in the Bay Area that have come together to figure out what is the best way to guarantee the safety of our patrons and our artists. Because you can just imagine for our artists that theater is their life, not being able to do it has been has definitely has had an impact in their hearts and their spirits. And so now that we have the opportunity to do it, we want to make sure that we take every single precaution possible to make sure that we can continue doing it. And we appeal to your, to your heart to do also be part of the solution and do what you can to make sure that you remain safe and those around you are also safe because we are dying to see you. We will love to see you. And if you haven't seen our PSA that we created with a lot of love, go to our Facebook page and just look Ven al Teatro that was written by Josimar Rodriguez with music by Russell Rodriguez and with a group of actors, and that's
Yosimar
what we
Reyes.
wanted to convey. Say it again.
Yosimar Reyes. You said Yosimar Rodriguez.
Oh my God, did I say Josimar Rodriguez? Josimar Reyes and composed by Russell Rodriguez. So take a look at it, and again, we just want to make sure that you know how much we miss your aplausos and your risas, your smiles, and we want you back, but we want you in a safe way because we don't want anybody missing next year.
Yeah. And the best way to make sure we can keep having live performances is to do this one safely. Yeah.
That's
Do you want
correct.
to say any? Do you want to say any of that in Spanish again?
Yes. Queremos recordarles que hemos pasado un año muy difícil donde muchos de los actores que viven del teatro no han podido estar y eso ha tenido un gran impacto en sus corazones, en sus espíritus. Entonces, ahora que tenemos la oportunidad de regresar al teatro, queremos hacerlo de una manera en donde todos estemos protegidos, porque queremos seguirlo haciendo. Ahora, estos protocolos que hemos implementado no es algo que está basado en creencias personales. Esto nosotros estamos siguiendo los lineamientos del Departamento de Salud Pública del Condado, también del Estado, y además somos parte de una coalición más grande de compañías de teatro que nos reunimos precisamente para hablar de qué manera podíamos abrir nuestros teatros de una manera segura. Y esa información la pueden encontrar en nuestra página en teatrovisión.org. donde pueden aprender más acerca de qué significa eso. Y sabemos que hay una gran diversidad de opiniones y no queremos cambiarlas, y esto es lo mejor que podemos hacer, y les pedimos que se cuiden ustedes, que cuiden a los demás alrededor de ustedes, porque queremos verlos este año, queremos escuchar sus aplausos, sus sonrisas, y no queremos que nadie falte el próximo año.
What else do we want people to know about the show or about coming to the show?
Well, I think in general, what we've heard in the news is that it's still going to take a little while to go back to where we were in 2019, and that COVID is going to stay with us for a little bit longer, and we cannot go back to where we were a year ago, and that we need to find ways to continue with our lives. But now we know more than we knew a year ago, and probably in a few months we will learn more from what we know right now. So it's every day things are changing, and what we are doing right now is based on the knowledge that we have up until now. Things might change, and that's because the the pandemic, it's changing as well. And I think that part of going to back to normal, it's also learning to adapt ourselves to these changes and being open and being a bit, again, thinking about the solutions. I, I've told someone we can have many reasons to not do what we are told to do. Let's find one reason to do it, and let's change the way we think. And that applies for anything really in our lives. If we can only find one reason to do it, and to do it for us and for those we love, things are going to go back to normal more quickly. So again, I want to emphasize how much we miss you, how much our cast is excited about doing it in the theater with people around. We are very, very excited and looking forward to to this year's De Partera, and we want to see you there, and we want you to see us and to see the work that we put together. Much love for you to enjoy.
Do you want to say that again in Spanish, or do you want me to wrap up? Sorry, I'm
uh,
making you do twice as much work.
no, that's good. That's good. Yeah, es nada más recordarles que queremos asegurarnos que vengan, que estén de una manera segura aquí con nosotros, que podemos tener muchas razones para no hacer las cosas que nos dicen que hagamos, pero si pensamos en solamente una razón y lo hacemos, es mucho más fácil. Y si esa razón es el amor que tenemos por nosotros, el amor que tenemos por nuestros seres queridos, las cosas van a regresar a la normalidad mucho más pronto de lo que creemos. Y al mismo tiempo, mientras eso sucede, es importante que seamos adaptables y que nos adaptemos a la situación, porque las cosas van a cambiar. Ahorita sabemos más de lo que sabíamos hace un año cuando empezó la pandemia, y seguramente en unos meses sabremos más de lo que sabemos ahorita. Entonces, las razones y las decisiones que estamos tomando ahorita son basadas en lo que sabemos en este momento, y tal vez eso tenga que cambiar. Entonces, mantengámonos abiertos, con una mente y un corazón abiertos, para poder aceptar ese cambio, podernos adaptar y poder hacer una nueva normalidad, algo en lo que podamos sentirnos a gusto.
Well, why don't I'm just going to run back through the high points one more time, and then I think we're about ready to wrap up. So just as a reminder, all this information we've been talking about, it's on our website, teatrovision.org/COVID. You can see all the policies that we have in place there. So please do visit that if you want to come to see the show, and we would love for you to come see the show. Tickets are on sale now. They're available at teatrovision.org/departera. You can buy them online. If you prefer to buy them over the phone, you can give us a call at 408-294-6621 extension 0, and we're happy to help you over the phone. And again, I would encourage you to buy your tickets sooner rather than later, both because we're not selling them at the door and also because there are a lot fewer seats than there usually are. So, if you want to get into the theater, we encourage you to buy your tickets, as soon as you are able to do so. And if you're worried about not being able to come, we are offering full refunds for whatever reason. So don't let that be a barrier to you purchasing tickets. And if you are interested in helping us out as an usher at the show, we're looking for ushers. You can find information about that, teatrovision.org/work. And finally, we would love to help honor the loved ones that you're remembering this Dia de Muertos. And so if you would like to share those names with us, we would love that. And you can email them to us at teatro@teatrovision.org, or you can text 408-294-6621, and we'll get them that way as well. Or you can message us on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or Twitter, any social media that we are on. You are welcome to send us that way.
Espero poder recordar todo, pero lo más importante es que ustedes pueden acceder a nuestros protocolos de seguridad de COVID en teatrovision.org/COVID, donde pueden encontrar toda la información acerca de los protocolos que estamos siguiendo para asegurarnos que nuestro regreso a teatro con los artistas y con ustedes sea lo más seguro. Y si tienen alguna pregunta, nos pueden contactar. El show de Partera puede encontrar toda la información en teatrovision.org/de Partera, y les recordamos que es importante que compren sus boletos lo más pronto posible. Lo pueden comprar en este website en línea, o también llamando al teléfono 408-294-6621 extensión 0. Es importante que compren sus boletos por adelantado, porque si no, no van a poder entrar al teatro. Recuerde traer su tarjeta de vacunación con una identificación con fotografía cuando venga al teatro. Pero si por alguna razón no puede entrar al teatro y ya compró el boleto, le podemos regresar su boleto, y habrá opciones también para poder disfrutar de la obra de teatro en línea después del 29 de octubre. También estamos buscando personas que nos puedan ayudar en el teatro para ayudar a la gente a encontrar sus asientos, etcétera. Y la información la pueden encontrar en teatrovision.org/work. Y también nos pueden mandar por correo. Y en the last part, what was it, Lee?
If people want to send names of loved ones, that they can send them.
Si usted desea que recordemos a su ser querido que se fue, o a alguna persona que vive en su zona que ha partido, puede mandarnos su nombre a teatro@teatrovision.org. Ese es nuestro correo electrónico. Y también nos pueden contactar en nuestros medios sociales, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, y hacernos saber si tienen alguna pregunta. También nos pueden contactar ahí.
Perfect. Well, I think we are just about done. I want to say hi to Chuy, who's out there. It says, saludos, señor director. Buen trabajo.
Saludos, Chuy.
Well, I think we are just about out of time. Rodrigo, thank you so much for taking all this time to talk to us. Oh, I should add, Because of Departera and because we're also busy with rehearsals and performances, particularly in the month of October, we're not going to be doing La Hora del Mitote. We're taking a little break in October. We will be back again with new guests and new topics in November. So we would love for you to join us again. I believe November 5th is our next one, but we will be taking a little break for the month of October so that we can get this show ready for all of you out there.
Les queremos recordar, vamos a tomar un pequeño break en octubre porque estamos en la producción de Departera, pero regresamos en noviembre con nuevos invitados especiales y con nuevos temas. Y desde aquí les mandamos todo nuestro amor y nuestros mejores deseos. Manténganse seguros.
All right. Well, thank you all out there so much for watching us. And we are looking forward to seeing you in person back at the theater.
Nos vemos hasta pronto.